Hello everyone, it is April 25th, 2012, and this is my review of Parrot's new AR.Drone 2.0. This is the newest and greatest thing from the company of Parrot. I wanted to make this review because I have yet to see any online from an independent, regular consumer like myself. I've only seen things from the big name companies that usually do these types of reviews. So here's my take on it. The Parrot AR.Drone 2.0 is a step up from the original. It's on sale for $299 from Brookstone right now, and you can pre-order it through the Brookstone Amazon store, and it is scheduled to ship May 1st, but I got mine a few days early, as you can tell. I've had it for about 2 days and probably put on at least a good hour and a half of flight time, and I've gotten pretty used to it and seen lots of improvements and some negatives on it, but overall I think it's a very good buy. Let me go through a few things with it. I didn't own the original Parrot drone, but I did get to fly it a couple times, so I'm very familiar with how the original one worked and how this new one works, obviously now. Parrot made some improvements. For instance, the forward-looking camera right here is now a 720p HD camera. Upgrade from the original one. It has the same bottom camera on it as the original one, same quality, so it's not that good downward looking quality, but it does get the job done. That front looking camera now has the ability to record to either your phone, or it will record to a separate USB drive which plugs in right here above the battery compartment. You can put basically a USB stick in there and it will record to that. Any video recording or picture taking, it will do both. The camera itself seems to have very little lag time over the original one. It does have a little bit of lag time, but it is very easy to fly still. The lag time is so little that you can easily pick up and distinguish it and be able to make the controls that you need to make. Overall, I think it's more stable than the original drone. As you see here, this is the indoor hole. I've beat this one up quite a bit flying it inside this little apartment. I gotta quit flying inside such a small apartment, but here's the outdoor hole that goes with it, and they just simply interchange. Overall, I think with both these holes on, it is very stable, and its gyroscopes and accelerometers and everything on it seem to really do a good job at keeping it where it is in the sky. What I mean by that is that it's designed so that if it's hovering in one spot, even if wind tries to push it, it's going to try to stay in the exact same spot over the ground. It makes it very useful. That's when it's in autopilot mode, when your hands are not on the controls, which is very good because most other remote control aircraft, you take your hands off the controls, it's going to crash. This one, it goes in autopilot mode and it stays where it's at. As far as stability goes, on the actual instructions in the user manual, it says not to fly it over anything about 9 miles an hour as far as wind goes. I've flown it last night in 10-mile-an-hour winds, and I flew it this morning in 14-mile-an-hour winds, and it does just fine at being able to stay where it is over the ground. A little bit of user input is required, but it can still fly in those high winds. I found it very easy to fly for beginners. Being myself, as I consider myself as a beginner, especially when I first picked it up. They have different control modes in this. Originally, there was only one control mode with the Parrot AR.Drone 1.0. This 2.0 now has option in the Free Flight app, which you do fly this from your cell phone, an iPhone, Android phone, or an iPad. It has an option in that app where you can set what they call absolute control mode, meaning that no matter which direction you turn your phone, it's going to come to the direction that you would naturally think of it to come to looking at it. So if I take it off, if it takes off, even if I turn it, no matter which direction I turn it, when I tilt my phone, if I tilt it back towards me, it's going to come towards me, no matter which direction it's turned. It makes it very easy for users, beginner users, because looking at it, you might not be able to tell which direction is the front of the aircraft and which direction is the back or left or right. So no matter which direction that front is facing, if I pull that phone back towards me, it's going to come towards me. If I push away, it's going to go away. Same with the left and right controls. But as I've found, I've been trying to fly it from the camera as much as possible, and I've found that the camera does have such good quality video that it does allow me to be able to fly directly from the camera, indoors, outdoors, and still be able to maintain control without having to look up at the aircraft and see where it's at. It has a new feature in it called flip mode, which is pretty cool if you want to impress people. You basically double tap one of the controls and it will climb a little bit and then execute a really quick flip like this, and a full 360 basically spin and stop itself from falling. And I mean, it is pretty cool to see it do it. It does take a little bit more battery power when it does this, so you'll see if you keep doing the flip a lot, you'll see that the battery, you're not going to get as much flying time out of it as you would if you were just flying it around. And speaking of battery, I got right about 10 minutes hovering time, just letting it hover with minimal inputs for myself to keep it in place on the standard 1000 milliamp battery that comes from the drone. And I am getting about exactly 90 minutes of charge time required to charge that battery back up. So you get about 10 minutes of flight time for 90 minutes of charge time. Not really the best equation, but good if, say, it's just going to be a study break or whatever. Would suggest getting some other batteries later on, and so you have multiple charged up so you can fly for extended periods of time. As far as durability goes, I think overall it has excellent durability for something of this nature, being that it is kind of a toy. I have crashed into walls, doors, I've flown into a bulletin board where it's chewed up paper, flown into multiple bushes and trees, and I've even dropped it out of the sky at about 30 feet and somewhat caught it, but it did hit the ground, hit concrete, and still it is pretty much perfectly okay. Flying it, the indoor hole, this is the indoor hole that goes on it. I do have a few nicks and gouges which have come about, and I fix those easily with just a little bit of electrical tape over it, just so it doesn't look bad. I did crack the hole once right here last night, but I fixed it with some Elmer's glue. That's good. What that is good about this is it is made out of foam, so you can fix it with just some Elmer's glue and keep on flying. Nothing important is really needed to fix it. And I really haven't, with everything I've crashed into and as hard as I've crashed, I haven't really done much damage. Not as much as you would think. The rotor blades are still pretty much the exact same. No major nicks or dings in them. As far as the structural durability that they upgraded on this, they made these little, I guess the structural pieces that hold the motors out, they made them out of a stronger material than the original one, and they identified the weak spots on the aircraft to be able to make them stronger and more able to hold up to strong crashes. That is pretty much everything positive I have on it. I did have a few negatives with this aircraft in my flight time, and I'd like to go over a few of those cons. The first con that I saw was the video has a tendency to freeze every now and then. I've really only noticed it when it was recording, on recording mode, both onto my cell phone and onto the USB stick. Sometimes once I hit record, it will fly for a little bit, but then the video will freeze and I'll be forced to either look at the drone, or I can hit the button that will change the video to the downward looking camera and then back to the frontward looking camera, and then it will usually do just fine. So there does seem to be a few bugs in the video department, which will probably be fixed with a simple update, and you can update these just by using your cell phone. Also, range I found was not as much, was not quite as far as they touted. They tout 165, I believe it's a 165 foot range on this device, and I did not quite see that with this. When I first flew it, I flew it in the parking lot of my apartment complex. There's a whole lot of Wi-Fi routers. Everyone seems to have one in their own apartment. And it seems that when I fly it around other Wi-Fi routers, it just has very limited range, probably 30 to 50 feet. I attribute that really to all the Wi-Fi routers, because when you have a lot of Wi-Fi routers working in the area, this device does work on Wi-Fi connected to your phone. but when you have all those Wi-Fi routers going on, it kind of acts like a jammer, and the frequency spectrum is full, and it has problems receiving the signals. I did get a lot better range inside of a warehouse where there was only one Wi-Fi router working instead of a whole bunch. I was able to fly from one end to the other, probably at least a good 100 feet without losing signal. And so I really do think that if you were flying an open field where there was no other signals from Wi-Fi routers or anything like that around, that you would get probably close to the full 165 feet of range out of it. I have heard of, on the original drone, people being able to connect these via a Wi-Fi router and be able to get increased range. How these work right now is on board it has its own built-in Wi-Fi router that your phone finds, connects to it, and you fly it from your phone. But I've heard of people who will take a Wi-Fi router, like a standard Linksys or whatever Wi-Fi router, and make it as like a relay patch, so you can fly essentially double your distance. I don't know if that's possible on the AR.Drone 2.0. I've yet to see anyone do it, but then again, hardly anyone has this device out yet. Still see that it's a little bit noisy. It's not incredibly noisy, but it is kind of noisy for a electrical flown aircraft. I think a lot of that is just the wind noise. It has a heck of a rotor wash. I mean, you have 4 separate blades here turning, and all those create a lot of downdraft. And it does have a little bit of noise. It's definitely not something that you would use for spying on it, even though specifically it says in the user's manual that that is against the law, so don't do it, guys. But it is not necessarily something that you can fly and sneak up on people and they wouldn't know. You'd hear it coming. It's not, like I said, extremely noisy. Also, they changed the battery style with it. The original Parrot AR.Drone battery had 2 leads coming out of it, one that went to the aircraft and the other that was used to charge the battery up. These new batteries have the leads, or the connections for the charger, built into the battery case, which means that the original batteries are not compatible with the 2.0 battery charger. So you have to still have the original battery charger to charge those. Now, those batteries are supposedly interchangeable with the Parrot AR.Drone 2.0 body. So you can use your original batteries with this new aircraft. However, you just can't charge them with the new battery charger. What that also means is there is not any, as of right now, any aftermarket batteries available online to buy for the 2.0 charger. So if you're looking to buy some aftermarket batteries to maybe increase your flight time, some bigger batteries, you're going to have to go with the original ones and buy an extra original charger. It can get a little bit pricey. I think Parrot did this primarily just to make extra money on it and to force people into buying their batteries. That's my own opinion on it, but we'll see what comes of it in the next few months as this becomes more popular out there on the market. Overall, it's a little bit pricey of an aircraft at close to $300, but I do think it is worth it. It's a lot of fun to fly. It's really easy to fly, and it will get some looks from different people around. It seems really stable. It seems really durable. I don't know if it'd be good for maybe anyone under, say, 14 years of age to fly, but maybe an older person, an older teenager or something would be good to fly. I'm a college student myself, and I enjoy flying it, and it's a great study break. I think it is a good buy, and I think anyone who did buy it would be happy with it. I hope to see that maybe in future years, or Parrot might come up with some more inventive things for this, maybe for the 3.0, but it will probably still be a few years, being that it took about 3 years for them to upgrade from the 1.0. So this is my review of the Parrot AR.Drone 2.0. It's a good buy, and hopefully this helped everyone out.